Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Today is Monday, February 6th, and we're here to give you our Westchester weekly update with some issues that are at hand across Westchester County through our county government and some issues that are outside of that. I'm going to be joined in a few minutes by Tom Kleiner, who is the Executive Director of our Westchester Putnam Workforce Development Board, and he's going to talk about a very special program that will help individuals with their tax preparation work. We are just about in tax seasons now, April 15th as being the deadline, as it always is, and so Tom will talk a little bit about that program. I'm happy to give you an update on Westchester County Center, a little bit about the weather, also some interesting news about the most recent police vehicle that we've been able to obtain, which hopefully will help us accomplish a couple of different public policy goals at the same time. And then in a few seconds, I'll be joined by Ken Jenkins, our Deputy County Executive, who will cover a couple of issues as well. Let me just mention, before we get into the meat of the program today, that we're very happy to officially announce not only the reopening of the Westchester County Center, which has been set aside for medical purposes over the last 3 years, but that at the end of this month, just 3 weeks away, we will once again be hosting the Section 1 high school basketball tourney. You may recall that we hosted that tourney as the last action we did prior to the pandemic coming in March of 2020. And it was an effort to try to work and negotiate with Section 1 to have them come back to the county center after a couple of years where they were not here. And we were happy to have them back. And then the pandemic came. We closed the county center. We closed most venues, if you recall, in the spring of 2020. And we wound up going through medical vaccinations and medical examinations at the county center, but no basketball. So basketball comes back in at the end of this month, Monday, February 27th, 3 weeks from today. The tournament will open. They'll have the first series of games there. We're very excited. It is the cathedral of high school basketball here in this county, and having come out of one of the most prominent high school basketball programs in Mount Vernon, I did not play basketball. That should be pretty obvious. But we had a lot of terrific people who did, and many other people all across this county that played high school basketball in Westchester and played for county-level championships, section championships at the county center. That's going to start to happen again this year, and we're very excited about it. It's good news. The county center will be open throughout the course of the rest of the year. We have a lot of other events that are coming in. It's not a full year of activity because opening as we have a number of organizations, we're not sure if we'd be open. They've made other plans for 23. We expect to have an even more robust schedule in 24. But we will be hosting the American Legion State Convention, actually called the Department of New York Convention. Ron Tochi, who heads our Veteran Services Agency, is working on that diligently. That is a July event. We expect to have high school and college graduations at the facility. We're hoping to get back some of the traditional exhibit shows that we've had there. We've always had a home show there, a baseball card show, a reptile show. So we're hoping that some of those will be back, and we'll certainly announce the schedule at the county center as we go along. But we're very appreciative that Section 1 has made the decision to come back to the county center, and we look forward to that in the next 3 weeks. The other issue I wanted to address just up front was the very severe cold snap that we had over the beginning of the weekend. It was one of the more strange ones in that it got extremely cold Friday night into Saturday. A lot of programs were canceled. Some of the outdoor farmers markets in places like Larchmont and Pleasantville were canceled. And I think everybody wanted to check their pipes to make sure that they didn't have the worst of all possible scenarios, which is to lose heat on the coldest night of the year and then potentially have a problem with your heating system and your water system. But for all of us who went through this, we have to remember we've had a very mild winter in general terms. We've had very little snow. And we are in February, so the winter is not yet over. There's still the rest of this month, and we see winter weather can be with us in the months of March, and we get a little taste of it sometimes in early April, depending on what happens. So we want you to be as alert to these things as possible. I want to publicly thank our Emergency Services Office and our Department of Public Safety. Both of those two entities worked overtime over the course of the weekend to make sure that we were as secure as possible. We had coordinated work with the utilities, Con Edison, NYSEG, and our various county departments. We shared forecasts, and preparations were made to be as ready as we could be for all of this. There were frozen pipes in many places. We even had one of our office buildings had some pipe issues, so it is not uncommon. There were some power outages in Westchester. At one point, they totaled about 4,000 impacted families, but it was better than we had feared it might be. We're much worse off with a windstorm, which will take wires down, and that will tend to put more houses out of service. But we want to, again, extend our gratitude to all of our first responders, our utility workers, all of those who were out there in the heart of this cold weather. It was a miserable night, Friday night and Saturday morning to be out, and yet they were out there trying to make sure restoration of power and restoration of services was available, and we're very grateful on behalf of a very grateful county government. Next, I'd like to bring up Tom Kleiner. Tom, as I mentioned, is the Executive Director of the Westchester Putnam Workforce Development Board. He has been involved in lots of different programs that help people find jobs and maintain jobs. This is a very important part of our economic development efforts that include what we're doing through Bridget Gibbons' shop to promote business, but Tom's work has been exemplary. Tom, in his prior life, has been a town supervisor in Rockland County in the town of Orangetown, and so he knows a little bit about how to administer governmental agencies. He's done a fine job with this group, and this is a joint Westchester and Putnam entity, so we join with Putnam County government in making sure this happens. So let me introduce Tom Kleiner. Tom, thanks for being with us here. Tell us about VITA.
Thank you so much. For the past 19 years, the county, through its Department of Social Services and the Westchester Putnam Workforce Development Board, has partnered with a community-based organization to help people file their taxes. The program is called VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, which provides free tax assistance for Westchester residents who are eligible to otherwise reap the benefits of the Earned Income Tax Credit with the assistance of IRS-certified volunteers. And it's really had a major impact on particularly lower income residents of Westchester who maybe don't have the resources to get professional tax preparer help that others in the population might have access to. So for example, last year, 1,300 people, taxpayers, received assistance, resulting in over $2 million in federal tax refunds, $380,000 in state refunds, $560,000 in earned income tax credits. And over time, over the 19 years that the program has been supported by the county, almost 10,000 taxpayers have taken advantage of the program, and 11 million in refunds and 2.5 million in earned income tax credits have been received. So last year, as the county executive and the deputy know very well, we were limited in a variety of ways in what we could do as a governmental entity, and one of those areas was in the VITA program. We only had 3 locations, but this year we're back up to 6. That's the Mount Vernon Career Center, the White Plains Career Center, Ossining High School, and 2 locations at Mercy College that Mercy operates in Dobbs Ferry and in the Bronx campus. And the locations will be open now, between now and April 18th, and there are some after-hours office hours as well. And anyone who is interested and eligible, essentially making approximately under $60,000 in income, can call 211, that's the United Way service, and the operators will be able to connect you directly to an appointment at one of those locations. And just the final thing I just wanted to leave with you is, as the Workforce Board Director, when I first came aboard, I was curious as to how and why VITA was part of our program. And the answer quickly became apparent. When people are able to be assisted in paying their taxes and they get the refunds, they pour that money back into the local economy. It helps our local businesses, it helps the county, and the elected officials recognize this. The county executive, along with the mayor of Mount Vernon and commissioners of the Department of Social Services, were at our press conference this past week to talk about the program and how important it is for Westchester residents. But at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. And County Executive Latimer and Deputy County Executive Jenkins have recognized that for years and been a real support for this worthy program. So again, encourage anybody who might be eligible to call 211 and get your taxes paid for free with qualified volunteers who we owe it all to, and get the refund so you can reap the benefit of those and pay some money back into the local economy. Thank you, George.
Thank you very much. That's Tom Kleiner, who's Executive Director of our Westchester Putnam Workforce Development Board. And the VITA program is going to help people file their taxes. Please call 211. That is the special helpline that we've established with the help of United Way to give you information about a host of different things, and in this particular case, to help you connect with the program. And thank you, Tom, and your team for the work that you've done. I'd like to give you a quick update on COVID, and then I'm going to ask Ken Jenkins, who's going to join us now, to talk a little bit about the reauthorization of one of the programs that we've established called the HERO program. First of all, on COVID, it is clear that the COVID pandemic is with us and will continue to be with us over the long haul. I believe they call that now an endemic, and that we would expect to see it return seasonally at a peak during the winter in the same way that we see flu come back in flu season. And we have vaccinations that help us be as resistant as we can to the flu, and we have vaccinations that helped us be resistant to COVID. The numbers for COVID, though, have been continually reducing by a little bit, but they're not disappearing, and that's an important insight for all of us. At present, we have 1,412 active cases of coronavirus. That is the number of cases reported of positive tests over the last 10 days. Now, you can't leave the status of positivity until you get through a 10-day period, 5 days of which you have to be isolated, and depending on your symptoms, the following 5 days that may allow you to be out in public or may require your continued isolation. But the 1,412 cases compares favorably with where we were just a week ago when we had 2,600 cases, 2,669 cases. And so there's been a significant drop. And if you go back a year ago, we were in the downslope of the Omicron outbreak, which happened in December and was really very significant in the month of January. But we still had 4,000 cases a year ago. So to go from 4,000 cases a year ago to 1,400 cases right now, that is very good news. We have 145 people hospitalized right now. That's under 10% of all the people that have tested positive. 1 year ago, we had 289 people, almost exactly double the amount a year ago, and so that is a sign of some success. We have lost 5 people in the last week. A year ago, we lost 11 people in the same period of time in the week. We continue to have fatalities targeted primarily to people of advanced age and people with underlying health issues who are already weakened situation. When they get COVID, it's a much more life-threatening situation. And then, of course, for those that are unvaccinated, we're estimating, as best as we can judge, 85% of our population has been vaccinated, stayed relatively current with their vaccinations for COVID. 15% of the population has chosen not to be vaccinated, and from that 15% accounts for some of these individuals. But with the amount of vaccinations that have gone on in the society, with the natural antibodies that we have to fight it off, many times 4 out of every 5 people that contract COVID don't need to be hospitalized. Their natural condition plus vaccination fights it off. So we've done much better than we would have thought. We know the national government has made a decision that in May to discontinue the federal program of emergency that has supported our systems. We'll have more to announce about that in the weeks to come because the county has relied on national resources to be able to provide testing and vaccinations and so forth. From our standpoint here in this update, when we hit our 3rd anniversary, which will be a little less than a month, just about a month from now, we're going to cease our reporting. We shut down our dashboard a month ago, and we're going to cease our regular reporting on COVID. I've tracked it every day over the course of 3 years. We realize now we're in the long haul, but that long haul is at a moderate level, a level that we intend to work and to defeat as much as we can. Deal with the impacts of it. We'll still have vaccination outreach. We'll still have outreach for testing and masking and so forth, but it won't be a central concern as we look forward. We have to go forward on this and bring the economy fully back, and that's what we intend to do. But we're encouraged by the numbers that we have today. We've had no deaths over the last almost full week, and we've had precious few hospitalizations, so we think all of that is a positive. What is also a positive is the way we are working to try to help incentivize those people who give community service to those of us in Westchester County, particularly through volunteer fire departments, EMS programs, and similar type services. We've created a program. We announced it last year, the HERO program, and Ken Jenkins is going to give you an idea about the program again as we are now in the process of its renewal. Ken.
Thanks, George. Certainly, the program was extremely successful and well received for all of the folks that have been involved in our volunteer fire services, as well as our EMS agencies, to help them to retain and to recruit more local heroes. And there's about 132 volunteers, first responders, that were awarded $500,000, $500,000 in 2022 for the Higher Education Recruitment and Retention Program, HERO, when it was launched. So behind the scenes, and based on all of that success in 2022, the County Board of Legislators, from the administration, from County Executive Latimer's initial budget presentation to the final budget, approved the funding for 2023 at that same amount, $500,000. The county is fully committed to doing everything that we can to support our local volunteer fire and EMS agencies to recruit and train those members. Those volunteer agencies are critical to ensuring the safety of so many communities here in Westchester County. And by having this program, it's going to help bolster that depleted volunteer ranks and provide active volunteer emergency service personnel with tuition reimbursement or loan repayment up to $6,000 per year. To be eligible, a HERO applicant must be an active member of the volunteer fire department, a volunteer fire company, or in a volunteer fire district, or with an EMS agency for at least 1 year. That applicant's department or agency will have to verify the training and service requirements have been met. And the HERO program is administered by the outstanding Department of Emergency Services, led by Commissioner Richard Wishney and Deputy Commissioner Susan Spear. Those application and forms and more detailed information about the program requirements and approval process can be found online at westchestergov.com/HERO, HERRO. And any questions can also be addressed to an email address, hero@westchestergov.com. And we're back to you, George.
Thanks very much, Ken. We want to announce with some pride that we have purchased our first all-electric marked county police patrol car. Now, I know you don't want to see a county police car pull up behind you on the hutch or on the cross county with the lights flashing, but we've tried very hard in our bus system and now in our regular fleet to convert our diesel system or our normal gasoline system to electric vehicles. We know that it represents less of a carbon footprint. It saves us money on diesel oil, certainly for the sake of the bus system, and regular gasoline for our cars. And we have a certain fleet of cars that are available. We have health department officials, DSS officials who go out in the community with county cars to do their job. And of course, we have county police cars that are out to do their jobs. But this vehicle is the first all-electric marked patrol vehicle, and it's been assigned to the county police precinct, which exists in the village of Mount Kisco. Westchester County provides local police services on contract with the town of Cortland and with the town village of Mount Kisco, and this car will be located in that situation. This is the 2022 Ford Mustang Mach-E, and this is a particular type of vehicle that is customized to be used in police work, which can, represent the need to accelerate quickly and also to travel at much higher speeds than the normal car would. This purchase is part of a pilot program. We're going to assess the effectiveness of the Mustang Mach-E as a patrol vehicle and determine if more of them should be purchased in the future. This vehicle, and this is the first one by Ford, by any of these companies, all-electric vehicle, to meet the rigorous road testing standards, which has been used by the Michigan State Police. The Michigan State Police and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department have established these standards, and they use it to test those kind of vehicles that would be used by police departments nationwide. And as we can imagine, vehicles that may be used in pursuit of those that are trying to escape police interdiction really has to have a lot under the hood. In fact, the Mach-E has under the hood 480 horsepower engine. It goes from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds. So if he's behind you, don't test him. He has a range of about 270 miles before needing a charge. And for those who have electric vehicles, that is always an issue on their minds. How far can I go on a charge before I have to recharge? And it's estimated to save at least $2,500 in fuel costs as we go forward. So if this test in this particular vehicle located in the Mount Kisco policing structure of our county police succeeds, we will buy more of these cars going forward and with the environmental benefit, and make sure that we're giving our police cars that perform properly, because we want to make sure that our members who provide us law enforcement protection have the right equipment, and we think that's important. So this is an update that has both an environmental and a law enforcement piece to it, and we're excited that it be a successful transition. Next topic, just want to remind you again that we have suspended the sales tax on home energy costs. We have the New York State Taxation Department that is available for any issues that may come up on your bill. That's 518-485-2889. We may have this on the screen. This benefit exists until the end of this month of February. But as I pointed out last week when I reviewed this, your Con Edison and your NYSEG bills are mid-month to mid-month in duration. You did not see in the month of December, your December bill, a reduction in sales tax. That will be made up for in your March bill. So even though the program ends on February 28th, the benefit of the program in your utility bill will be shown in the March bill. I guess they usually come out on or about the 10th of the month and are due sometime in the middle of the month. But this applies to all home energy sources, whether it's oil, propane gas, natural gas, electric, or the aforementioned wood and coal, which I always say the same thing. I hope you're not heating your house by coal in this day and age. I remember when my dad in 1960 converted our coal system to a natural gas system, and it was quite the experience back then, and that's 60 some odd years ago. But the suspension of the tax is the suspension of a 4% tax in all of the towns and the villages of Westchester County and in the cities of Rye and Peekskill. The other 4 cities have their own sales tax, so the county portion of the sales tax you pay in White Plains, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, and Yonkers is 1.5%. That portion is what's being lifted. So it's not as great a benefit because those 4 big cities have their own local sales tax allocations. Elsewhere in the county portion is the local portion, and that's what's being lifted. We will continue to look for ways to try to provide a break for individuals. We've done it with free buses last year. We did it with some free parking operations last year and free civil service testing and a few other different things. We're talking about those different issues that we can do. We know we're still dealing in an inflationary moment. It seems to be decreasing a little bit. We hope that's the trend, but all of that is national government activities, nothing that we can control at a county level. So our response is to try to find ways of things that can be a benefit to you by us charging less for those things. And of course, the most important thing is that for the 4th straight year, we reduced our overall county general fund property tax levy. So we hope that's helped, however large or small it is. Any questions, any problems, we can make the contact with the New York State Department of Finance. You can report if you've been charged sales tax where you think you should not have been charged sales tax, and we still have time to rectify that as we go forward. Let me mention next that February is Black History Month. There's a series of events that are going on all across Westchester County in all different communities to celebrate Black History Month. I attended one this past weekend that the National Council of Negro Women had at the Greenberg Library. Ken was there as well. And we had other officials and prominent individuals in the Greenberg community. There have been other events already. Tonight we have an open house here on the 9th floor of the county office building to bring in some of those folks who represent various African-American cultural organizations and celebrate Black History Month. And Ken Jenkins will be the host of our annual Trailblazers event. We've been doing it for 23 years, I think. Hopefully I've got the right number. And that's going to be virtually provided on Facebook on the night of February 23rd. And that'll be a lot of fun. That's coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll be honoring some individuals who've really accomplished quite a bit in the community, giving them the respect necessary, but done as well within the context of Black history over the course of our Westchester County. We've mentioned something exciting at County Center. Let's mention something exciting at Lasden Park. Ken?
Thanks, George. And we have mentioned this before, but it's really important to recognize, especially coming off of the weekend where we went from, as County Executive pointed out, single-digit temperatures before the wind chills, and now up to around 50 degrees the very next day on Sunday. Today we're going to hit somewhere in 50s, depending on where you are. So we have this outstanding exhibit at Lasden called Amazing Butterflies, which invites you to shrink down into the undergrowth and become one of the most extraordinary creatures on earth. The exhibit runs now through May 7th. The dates and times and tickets are available right now, and I'm sure that that's on our screen. It's produced by Minotaur Mazes of Seattle. It's an immersive experience that's based on an exhibition created for the Natural History Museum in London, and it features their scientific input and interpretation. You'll discover fun, fascinating facts about our planet's most amazing life cycles. But beware, it's a maze, and that maze includes dead ends, down which lurks poisonous plants and predators waiting to pounce. So choose the right route, stamp your card along the way, and you emerge as a beautiful butterfly. Tickets are available now through May 7th, and you can go to the Friends of Lasden Parks at lasdenpark.org or call 914-864-7268 for more information. It's just another outstanding program in our nationally recognized award-winning park system. Judge.
I couldn't help but think there's a maze, there's dead ends, there's predators. It sounds like a life in public office. But we're very happy to have at Lasden Park something of great fun for all. We were there at the end of November when we launched the Christmas season by letting the model train get kicked off by Santa Claus in the Arboretum. And of course, Muscoot Farms recently had the hen lay the egg. I have to do the straight face now. The hen lay the egg to determine if we have 6 more weeks of winter. We're trying to, take the headlines away from Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog. But we try to have some fun things. We have a terrific park system, 55 parks. This time of the year, in the heart of the winter, our golf courses are not open. Clearly, our beaches are not open. But we've got a lot of wonderful things to do. Our nature preserves, there's 6 of them, are open for weekend walks. If the temperature doesn't hit minus 10 degrees below zero, it's a wonderful walk at Lenoir Preserve, at Trailside, at the Reed Sanctuary, Marshlands, at Cranberry Lake. There's just wonderful things to be able to do in our parks. Kensico Dam Plaza is a wonderful open area. You can go by and take a look at the rising 9/11 and the wall that we've created to honor those who died through 9/11 related illnesses. And we have a couple of places where you can ride mountain bikes in the southern, central, and northern parts of the county. Lots of great places in our parks. And of course, the butterflies are part of it. And going to the county center to watch basketball is part of it too. All of those are things that the county government has been responsible for. We look forward to communicating with you again next week. We're approaching Valentine's Day. We'll have no doubt some interesting things at that point in time. In 2 weeks, it will be President's Day, and so Monday will be a holiday, and our weekly report in 2 weeks will be on Tuesday, the day after the longer President's Day weekend. And we hope we get through the winter weather without any of this sub-zero temperature and wind chill factors, but we hope you have a safe week ahead. Thank you for watching. I'm George Latimer, County Executive. Have a good day.